I'm Dr. Josef. Today I'm going to be responding to questions that people have sent me, and I'm also going to be introducing a new way to contact me and ask me questions, and I'm going to get into that later on in this video.
Hi, I'm wondering if you can comment on the use of hormone therapy for menopause while in a benzo-injured state. I am a year post-taper with very severe symptoms, and I'm not wanting to make it worse, even though, menopausal symptoms are obviously in play as well. Concerned about using progesterone in a benzo-injured state. If you can comment, thank you.
Wow, what a good question. And to set some context for this, when you have a protracted withdrawal injury, usually people will have worse symptoms around their period and really bad symptoms around menopause. And so this is a really common question that a lot of people come to me with is, should I get on birth control because I frankly feel suicidal during my period, or just get on something to stop menopause from happening? They're in a really difficult spot because after you've had a drug injury like that, it's really difficult to know whether you're going to respond to medications in the same way. And I have heard some stories of people getting on progesterone, which does interact with the GABA receptors, and their symptoms getting worse. But then I've also heard some stories of people who have been hurt while they've been on like the Mirena or other birth control forms, which have stopped their their periods, and that has been really helpful for them. Unfortunately, there's no clear guidance that I could give you. I guess because menopause lasts so long, I feel like it can last up to a decade. I mean, if you're on the later end of that, you may want to ride it out and not take the risk. However, if you're early on and it is distressing to the point where you're feeling suicidal, you may want to cautiously try that. Now, I haven't heard any stories of people cautiously trying that and then kind of entering a new level of hell, where symptoms are worse and persistently worse. And so you would just want to ease into it very gradually. It's going to be very hard to predict what's going to happen, but maybe a reasonable thing to try if it's truly, truly horrible. Sorry that's happening, but thank you for sending the question.
My question is, how do you taper off effexor XR? Effexor extended release is only what's available in Australia. And is it safe to do a liquid taper and pour the powder out when it normally is lined in that capsule coating, and we don't know the composition of the powder? Is it still safe to do a liquid taper? And how do you do that?
If you're tapering with effexor XR, I guess what you would do is bead counting. And so you would open up the capsules, count out all the beads, and then you'd progressively remove them, again, keeping within the usual, 5 to 10% every 30 days. I guess you would want to really make sure that there's no other version of effexor there, because at least in the US, you can get the instant release formulation. It sounds like maybe you can't get that in Australia, but if you can, then you would just swap over to the instant release formulation. And then you could kind of dry cut that one if you wanted to, or you could also get a compounding pharmacy to turn that into a liquid. When you go from the extended release to the instant release, you're going to have to space it out more. You may need to dose it 2 to 3 times a day. And effexor instant release really isn't that hard to get. So I don't know if maybe you could go to a country and get a country where you could get that and bring some of that home, and use it to taper. Really, probably for all practical purposes, maybe just counting beads is the best way to go. And if you want to learn more about that, I would go and look at some videos on tapering Cymbalta, because they do a lot of bead counting education there. Thank you for sending these questions over. If you enjoy this content and you think I deserve it, please go ahead and hit subscribe. You can also hit the bell so you get notified when new content arrives. Thanks.